multiple myeloma a few weeks ago. Left hundreds of us heartbroken. We're not here to mourn Ray. We wanted to take a few minutes to celebrate his life and remind everybody why we love him. I'm apologizing for reading. I always look up when I'm talking, but today I gotta make sure I cover all this. It's that important to me. I don't care if you see me reading. I'll explain what he did for the club in a second, in the charities. First, selfishly, I want to tell you the legend of Nooch, as he's known. He's on our sleeves here. I met Ray in the mid-90s when I was first getting involved in boating. I was in the Erie Canal in my 19-foot Sunrunner, and I saw this 39-foot Chris Craft Stinger come rumbling in the canal. And I'm like, oh my God, it was that guy. And it was like something on a Miami Vice. And Ray pulled up to the dockside restaurant like he owned it, with a full entourage in tow.
Check.
I introduced myself expecting a rude or cocky guy, and that's not what I got. I got a super nice guy who asked me about my crappy little Sunrunner, and before the night was over, I was driving that Stinger. And my wife was my girlfriend at the time, and we got to take that thing out, and he let me drive it, and we're lifelong friends since. And it was pretty cool. And quite honestly, I feel like he owes me tens of thousands of dollars for all the money I wasted in fuel and boats. Not to sound ridiculous, but I idolize him. Ray was confident and successful, a genuine great guy, a guy you either wanted to be, wanted to know, or wanted to be like. I know half the guys in this room and girls in this room have a similar story. I'm just a lucky enough one that got to share mine tonight. For the past 8 to 10 years, the boat club became a bigger part of Ray's life. Ray generously offered the use of his boathouse for use for our monthly meetings. Ray loved doing this. When the night was over and people started to fire up their boats and head home, he would say, "Where are you going, guys? You leaving already? Where are you going?" And he didn't want us to leave. He loved it. And Ray valued his friendship with his boating friends. One of his dying wishes was that Wnyopa continues to get to use that boathouse. We've had 2 meetings there since his passing, and it's bittersweet going there. It's funny, the other night, Doc and I can't remember who else.
Tim.
We were walking up the stairs, and I yelled out, I'm like, "Bye, Ray," and I spent the next 5 minutes crying on the way home. Talking to Ray's brother in the funeral, and since then, Ray turned down 3 family trips to Italy. Each time to meet members of his family from the old country, because this poker run interfered with it. Ray says he loved his boating friends every bit as much as he loved his family, if not more, and his brother laughed. Ray became heavily involved in Wnyopa, gaining sponsorships. He took it incredibly seriously. He often put up his own money. He would go to a sponsor and say, "Hey, it's $500 or it's $1,000 or whatever." And if they said, "I can't do it," he goes, "I'll put up the money, just give me a credit." So Ray would call all the time, "Hey, you want to go to lunch? I got credited over at River Grill, and Jasmine, so the list of sponsors, if you look at all our old sponsorships, they're all restaurants, and all of us have been to lunch there a lot of times. He would never take no for an answer. He would needle his people, and he brought in more money for charity than anybody in this club, by far. He's responsible for raising tens of thousands of dollars for Excalibur Leisure Skills, which I think are in the room tonight. The other thing is, we all knew Ray was fighting cancer, and we wanted to, we had this way we could raise money with this event. We said, "Ray, let's do it with Roswell Park. Let's change our charity." Ray was adamant. "No, Excalibur is a boating charity, helps kids. You keep that charity. Do not do Roswell. I want Excalibur." And he was adamant about it. He wouldn't take no for an answer. And it's not that there was anything against Excalibur. We love the charity, but Ray was our friend, and we wanted to do everything we could for him, and he wouldn't let us do it. And we saw Ray, and give me 2 more minutes, guys. I apologize for going on. This is important to a lot of us. We saw a big change in Ray when Roman was born, his son. This is his world. We'd never give him a minute for any reason. Just a proud dad. And I think Ray fought longer than he would have normally been able to, because he didn't want to miss any time with that boy. Luckily, Roman's old enough that he will have memories of his dad. Roman's 11, and got to know his dad well. Only problem is he's probably addicted to fast cars and boats. We were in the hospital with Ray in his final days, and Roman's like, "Dad, I got dibs on the vet." And so it was great to see Ray enjoy that part of his life. And after that, the most amazing thing happened. In the last 5 years, Ray met a wonderful woman, Maureen, who was his true love. I don't know if I've ever seen love like that. Maureen had already lost a husband to cancer, and she was at Ray's side the whole fight for the last number of years. She was awesome. She was there for all the right reasons too, and Ray knew it. And it's funny, I talked to Ray, and a bunch of us could say the same thing. Ray said, "It's weird, I go to bars or go to lunch and I can't hit on girls anymore." And he was serious. He goes, "It feels weird." He goes, "I think I love her." I go, "Yeah, that sounds like love, right? Yeah, we got this figured out." So, and Ray never had any problems finding a date, but yeah, Ray was awesome, or Maureen was awesome, and it was true love. Maureen's whole family, her son Dan was by his side, helping him in the final days, final weeks and months, and the good thing is we know Maureen will help Roman see that boathouse and continue to help understand how important her dad was. The funeral procession at Ray's funeral was probably close to 5 to 10 miles. I've never seen anything like it. It was incredible. Today we had a card stop at Ray's Boathouse. And guys, when we left this room, we handed you a purple carnation, and maybe many of you didn't know what it was. And it was important to us because when Ray's brother Robert and Maureen knew that it was his final days, they decided we want Ray to die at the boathouse. So they hired an ambulance, and a bunch of the club members and family, we met the ambulance at the boathouse, and we got that gurney down the hill, and we dragged the couch out the slider, and Ray spent his final day on the couch at the boathouse, smelling the fresh air. Club members doing flybys with their boats, revving engines, and the family and friends drank beer and ate food and celebrated his life. And couldn't think of a better way to spend my last days in the boathouse. I've no doubt Ray was in spirit with us today, probably sitting in his purple Adirondack chair, watching us smiling. We did our best to honor Ray by renaming this event. Thanks, Tony, for doing it. It's awesome that you did that. There's no way in just a few minutes I could adequately done the legend of Nuch justice, but he'll be a legend in the Western New York boating community, and rest in peace, our friend. We love you.
I don't quite know how to follow that.